Hey, this is Mike Oberdick with Designs for the Web, and thank you for joining me today as we're going to tackle this project of creating a slide-in call to action. And I really like these. I think they're pretty neat and a great way to grab the attention of the person who's viewing your blog or your website. And just to give you a little preview of what we're going to be creating here today, I'm on one of my blog posts, and I'm going to just move over here to the right hand side, and as I scroll down about midway down the page or so, you'll see we get this slide in graphic that pops in, and if I slide back up it'll go away. So this is a jQuery based slide in and or animation, and like I said, I think it's pretty good in terms of the ability to grab the attention of the person who's reading your blog or your website. And it's really not that crazy to create. And in this tutorial we're going to be going through and creating this on my demonstration site that I have set up. So the very first thing that we have to do is we have to get into our child theme. We have to get the single.php page, or whatever the actual page that you're going to use as a template. In this tutorial we're going to be creating a slide-in just for individual blog posts. So we're going to go to the themes folder of your WordPress installation. So just to go back to the root here, I went from content into themes, and we're going to choose the child theme of whatever you're using. And of course it's important to use the child theme so that we're not making changes to the actual theme that would then be updated and wiped out with any new installations or updates. So inside of the child theme, you can see here that I took the single file. I'm going to delete this and actually go back a step. I think it's important to see what I did there. I'm going to go into the actual theme that I've created the child based on. So I'm going to go into 2012, scroll down, find that file that I want to edit. I'm going to click on it and copy it, and then into the child theme I'm going to go ahead and paste it. So now the changes that I make here to this file will not be erased when I update the theme. Let's open that up. Now the first thing that I want to make sure that you understand is that we will be using jQuery, and if we don't have jQuery already loading on our website, we need to make sure that we include a link to that code. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that now and paste it in, because the 2012 theme does not link to the jQuery library by default. Now if you're not sure if your website or your theme does, here's a pretty easy way to check. Let me close out some of this stuff. What I did was I opened up the header theme, and actually we're going to need to go back and grab a copy of that. Not the theme, but the header file, I'm sorry. So we'll go back into themes, into 2012, and I checked out the header file, and when I looked in the head section I saw some links to different things, but I didn't see any links to jQuery, the jQuery library. So again, we don't want to make a change to the original file. We want to take that file and copy it, go back into our child theme and paste it. So now we have the exact same header.php file as our parent theme uses, but we're going to go in and make the change to include the jQuery library. So I'll open that one up, and this is the one that we're going to edit. Okay, so in here in the head section, I'm going to put this at the end, right before the head call. We're going to go ahead and drop this in. So I'm going to paste this code, and this is the code that will access the library of jQuery, which will allow us to use those animations. So I'm going to go ahead and save that and then close the header file. So that's the only thing that we would change in the header file, which of course the header is called in all of your template files. Back to the single.php file. We need to locate where the content is going to end in your file. And so I'm looking in here, I can see that here is the actual post, and you can see here it's getting the content from this template piece. So I'm going to go ahead and put that at the end of that, right before the pagination and the navigation that goes between the next post and the previous post. So you could see here what I dropped in was this code and this is going to be the actual jQuery code that's going to set which actual div we're going to be using, and then determining the offset from the top of the window, which would be how far it is from the bottom of the window, really, and then ultimately how we can hide it. So you'll see here that it's going to hide it 430 pixels off the screen, which is why in a moment I'll show you that you want to make sure your call to action is about 400 pixels is what I used. Alright, and don't forget, all this code that I'm pasting in here is going to be available to you right below the video on my blog post. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're done now with the single.php file. Now the next thing that we're going to have to go and get is the style sheet for your theme or your child theme. So I'm going to open up the style sheet here. You can see I haven't done a lot of customization for this demo site here, and we're going to go in and we're going to paste a little bit of code that's going to dictate how this displays on the page when it actually is visible. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here, and you can see that there is some code that's going to be targeting our actual div and how it will look, and the shadow around it, which is a nice effect. It has a close button, and also if I drag this down a little bit, you can see that it has a hover action for the close button, and also a media query so that this slide box will display 100% width on a mobile device. So that's a good feature, so that it's not something that's really minuscule at the very bottom right hand corner of an iPhone, for example. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this style sheet, and that's going to be the only code that we add to the style sheet. And our next step is going to be to create the graphic that we want to slide in. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to create this at about 400 pixels, of course, 400 pixels. And so I'll check out the canvas size here. We're at 400 wide by 178 high. And you're going to want to go ahead and save that to your computer. Make sure that you put some type of graphic where you want the user to click, and of course the entire div will be clickable to make things easy, especially on a mobile device, but we want to make sure there is a call to action within that graphic that's going to give them a way to complete the action that you want them to complete. So I already have this saved to my computer. I'm going to go and hop back now to the dashboard for my demonstration site here, and what we need to do is get that picture into our media library. So we'll go to media and we're going to add new. And what we want to do is upload that picture. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that now and drag and drop it in here. Okay, so we want to upload that picture, and we want to click on edit. And the reason we want to do that is because we need this right over here. We need to go ahead and grab the URL of the image so that we can link to it back in our code. Okay, our next stop is going to be onto the actual post that we're going to have this slide in call to action appear on. So here I am now on an actual blog post. You can see it's just a graphic here and some text. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit post up here at the top, and that will bring me into the dashboard view. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to assign the place where we want the slide in to slide in. So we'll go to the text view, the HTML editing view, and I'm going to go here to the last paragraph, and I'm going to assign the ID of last, and of course the closing paragraph tag. So this last paragraph, and it could be a picture, it could be a link, it could be anything, we just need to assign this ID of last, and that will be the trigger that's going to start the slide in to come in. The last thing we want to do is we're going to paste some code in here that's going to actually contain the picture itself of the slide in and where we want the slide in to link to. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that. Now one of the things that I want to point out is it could be a bit tedious and cumbersome, unnecessary to have to put this into every post that you create. So I will point out that on my YouTube channel in the WordPress tutorial series, I do have a great video that will show you how to create your own shortcode. And essentially that's what I've done at the very beginning of this post. I have a shortcode CTA, and that shortcode produces the whatever it is that I want it to produce, but this CTA shortcode that I created in my functions.php file allows me to drop a call to action button that says buy now, and that will go wherever I put that call to action, that CTA shortcode. So you could see here on the actual post, the CTA produces this. But very easily, you could also create a shortcode that would drop in this code. Oops, I've got to go to the text version. So it would be very easy for you to drop a shortcode in that would get this done for you instead of having to type it out every time. Okay, so here we need to type in what we want the link to be. So maybe you have a sign-up form for your newsletter, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I have a newsletter sign-up page. Alright, and then of course the image will be the image. And this is the image URL that we copied from the media gallery page for the picture. And I have that in a little notepad bookmarklet thing up here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. So that's where we're going to put the image. Okay, so you can see there's the image that I uploaded to WordPress. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to update this page now that those changes are all made. Okay, time to go and check out our handiwork. So I'm going to click on View Post now that we've updated it. And here's the blog post that we just created. Now as we slide down and we hit that last paragraph, whoops, there we go. Just had to refresh the page. So as we slide down now, and I should probably move this window over so you can see this. As we slide down, we get that slide in call to action coming right in. So as you can see, it's really not that complicated to get your own slide in call to action on your website. And if you create your own shortcode so that you don't have to keep constantly putting in that little bit of HTML at the end of your post, then it could save you some time. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and by all means, if you have any questions at all, you can leave me a comment or contact me directly. It's Mike at designs4theweb.com, and the website is designsfortheweb.com. Thanks for joining me.